Dear soul, welcome home. If this video has appeared on your screen right now, I want to ask you to take a deep, slow breath. Let the tension fade from your body. This message didn't find its way to you by accident. There are times when you click on a video just to pass the time. But then, there are alignment moments like this one. Moments where the synchronicity is so absolute, so calculated, that trying to explain it with human logic is simply impossible. You are experiencing one of those moments right now. That magnetic pull you felt the second you saw this thumbnail? It wasn't your imagination. You didn't open this out of boredom, nor did an algorithm just throw it at you randomly. No, this energy has intercepted you because you are standing on the precipice of a massive shift. You are about to cross a threshold into something incredibly profound, something you once prayed for, then doubted, then allowed yourself to hope for again, before ultimately whispering to yourself that it would never happen. I am here to tell you to let go of all those old doubts. It is unfolding right now. You are on the verge of receiving the exact admission you convinced yourself was impossible. For months, I know the absolute lack of communication has felt completely deafening. That empty space gave your mind all the room it needed to spiral into overthinking. It allowed self-doubt to settle in, forcing you to constantly replay old memories late at night, desperately searching for the exact moment the fractures began. You probably spent countless hours asking yourself, why are they staying so quiet? Did I completely invent this soul connection in my own head? Did it ever mean anything to them? And eventually, to protect your own peace, you stopped asking those questions out loud. You told the world you were fine. You dedicated yourself to your own healing. You practiced detachment, and you did your best to walk away. But if you are being completely honest with yourself, a quiet, sacred part of your heart never truly locked that door. And that wasn't because you were obsessed or unable to move forward. It was because your intuition deeply understood that the final page of this story had not yet been written. Today, I am here to validate that inner voice. You were entirely right. Because silence is never the same thing as absence. Never confuse their quietness with a lack of care. Sometimes, a person goes completely silent simply because they are utterly paralyzed by the depth of what they are feeling. The person occupying your thoughts right now has been carrying a massive emotional burden behind closed doors, far heavier than anything they have ever let you see. They never forgot about you. They never stopped loving you. And despite how it might appear to the naked eye, they haven't moved on. What they have actually been doing is fighting an exhausting internal war against emotions they felt completely unequipped to handle. Feelings that were simply too intense, too transparent, and too real for their ego to accept. They tried everything to rationalize their way out of it. They tried to tell themselves it was just a passing phase. They jammed their schedule packed with distractions, wore a mask of indifference, and built the highest walls they could manage. But a connection of this caliber does not just evaporate. It lingers in the background. It echoes through their subconscious. It forces its way to the surface in those vulnerable, quiet hours of the night when they are hit with unexpected memories. And every single time they try to push it down, the truth only echoes louder and louder inside their mind. You see, some people don't actually struggle with the concept of love. What they terrify themselves with is what true love demands of them. It demands absolute transparency. It demands raw vulnerability. It requires the immense bravery to lay your weapons down and be seen fully. And for them, that level of exposure was terrifying. Because admitting how much they love you means admitting how much power you hold over them and how much they regret the way they handled things. It forces them to say out loud, I fell harder than I ever intended to. I still care about you. I have never stopped caring. And for a long time, holding that truth felt way too heavy, so they chose the safety of silence. Not because the feeling wasn't there, but because the flood of emotion was overwhelming. But recently, a A profound shift has taken place. Slowly but surely, the scales have tipped. They have finally reached a point where the agony of suppressing this truth hurts infinitely more than the fear of letting it out. The resistance they built up is dissolving. The defensive walls are crumbling, and they can no longer escape the confrontation happening inside their own mind. They are now haunted by a completely new set of questions. What happens if I stay silent and lose them forever? What if this distance becomes permanent? What if they move on, believing they never mattered to me? Those thoughts are keeping them awake at night. And when someone reaches that level of emotional desperation, an honest confession becomes completely inevitable. The words you are about to receive might not look like a scene from a movie. It may not be a grand, dramatic gesture, nor will it be delivered in perfectly polished prose. It might catch you completely off guard in the middle of an ordinary day, but it will be undeniably raw. It will be real. It will sound something like, "You haven't left my mind. I never told you what I should have because I didn't know how to process it back then. But I need to be honest with you now. I still hold a massive amount of feeling for you." And when those words finally land, you won't just read them, you will feel them. You will feel the absolute sincerity and the deep vulnerability underneath the message. You will recognize the immense weight of everything they have been suffocating inside themselves for all this time. You will know instantly that this isn't a casual thought or an impulsive whim. This is a speech they have rehearsed in the mirror of their mind thousands of times. Listen to me clearly. You were never forgotten. Not for a single second. Not in the moments where the distance felt like an ocean. Not during the days they refused to text you, and not even when their life looked completely separate from yours. Your energy stayed with them because the bond was real. What you two experienced wasn't just superficial chemistry. It was a profound soul recognition. It shook them to their core in a way they were entirely unprepared for. And connections that touch the soul do not fade with time. They don't die. They wait. And the only reason this breakthrough is manifesting right now is because you changed. You stopped chasing answers. You stopped trying to force the universe's hand and manipulate the outcome. You stopped trying to perform to prove your worth. Instead, you redirected that energy back to yourself. You became anchored, steady, and secure. You softened your heart without allowing your boundaries to collapse. And that energetic pivot changed everything. Your aura stopped radiating the desperate frequency of, "Please look at me. Please choose me." It began vibrating at the ultimate frequency of, "I am already whole." And the moment a runner senses that shift in the quantum field, it forces them to look in the mirror. They can no longer use your pursuit as an excuse to hide from their own feelings. When this communication finally arrives, I want you to take a slow breath. You are under no obligation to rush. You do not need to type out an immediate reply, especially if it arrives as a text message. You don't need to have the next 10 years mapped out in an instant. Just allow the words to land. Let yourself experience the sheer reality of the moment without dragging old resentments from the past into it or projecting anxieties into the future. This moment isn't about instantly fixing the past. It is simply about honesty, finally meeting honesty. You have full permission to receive this news with total calmness. You are allowed to stay deeply grounded in your own skin. You can listen to their heart without losing your own balance in the process. And that, my dear soul, is exactly how you retain your absolute power. If there were days when you wept, wondering if holding on to hope was a massive mistake, or if you were just being naive and foolish for believing in this connection, I want you to look at the grand design of your journey right now. You were never stuck in a waiting room, not at all. You were actively evolving. You were shedding old layers. You were becoming the highest version of yourself. And this upcoming confession isn't just validation that your intuition was right. It is the ultimate proof that divine timing is real. You are meeting this breakthrough as a completely different person, someone infinitely stronger, wiser, and more centered than before. That is precisely why it couldn't happen a month ago. This isn't a retreat back into your old, toxic history. This is the birth of an entirely fresh dynamic. The previous chapter was built on hesitation, fear, and unexpressed emotions. This new one is being built on a foundation of absolute truth. They aren't returning to you confused or looking for an ego boost. They are returning with full awareness, aware of what they feel, aware of what they almost lost, and aware of exactly what they want. And you aren't the same person either. You are no longer auditioning for their love. You are not here to convince them of anything. You are here to choose. So, if you have been quietly wondering if they will ever have the courage to speak their truth, rest assured, they will. Absolutely, they will. But it won't happen because you chased them down or demanded it. It will happen because the truth always rises to the surface. The exact moment the energetic timing is ripe. And that timing is right now. You did not make up this connection. You did not misinterpret the spiritual signs, and you were never foolish for keeping the faith. You were highly intuitive. And reality is finally catching up to what your soul already knew to be true. So, stay open, stay anchored, and trust your path. The exact words you thought were lost forever are already making their way back to your heart. Thank you so much for anchoring your energy with me today in our beautiful sanctuary. I love you. Take care. Until next time.